We just finished a pilot project with the university in Germany on something that I think is pretty interesting. And so I've been collecting data on this for quite some while, but not as specifically as what we did in this pilot, which should lead to some further research. But it all kind of fits into the same picture that we see when using NIRS, and it's about using NIRS to assess Fatmax. So Fatmax, just the highest amount of fat burning capabilities that you have. Now, for people who aren't don't know the idea of Fatmax much, and I just defined what it is. Now, what's important to note is it's not the point at which you only burn fat and no carbs. It's the point where you burn the most fat. You may also be burning a lot of carbs, so you're burning the most fat. It's usually like 60 to 70% of VO2 max is usually what it's considered to be at, but it's highly individual. It can be at 50%, it can be at 80%. And it is related often to aerobic fitness, like VO2 max, but not always. So that it's not always so straightforward to identify. But NIRS does seem to be at least somewhat suitable to help you identify your fat max. And we'll put up a chart here, a graph. And basically, fat max is taking place at approximately what we would call muscle oxygen breakpoint 1, which is similar to ventilatory threshold 1 or lactate threshold 1 with some variations there, obviously. And now, so in the pilot that we did with six participants, the difference between fat max and your muscle oxygen breakpoint 1 was on average 9 wattage points. So pretty close. I mean, and we're talking about kind of wattages of 180. So it's 5% difference, something like that. Which is pretty good. Now, important thing to note is that it's in 5 of the 6 participants, the fat max, those 9 watt differences are always lower. So your fat max is going to come a little bit earlier than your breakpoint 1. In 1 of the 6, it was actually after. But generally speaking, if you want to do a fat max training, you're going to want to find your breakpoint 1 and back it off a little bit. And then you should be able to optimize your training, or you have a fat max training, which is really useful. Now, this is also, if you look at the Moxie endurance guides and stuff we put out a long time ago, this was the same concept that you had. The idea of finding your maximum oxygen steady state high level where it starts to decline. Everything before that is kind of like your endurance zone, which would be like your fat burning zone. So the idea is that you can then find your fat max on a daily basis. If you say, well, today I want to do a fat max training, I want to make sure I'm doing fat max training, go out, do a warm up, get SMO2 to rise, get it to stabilize, find where you're going to start dropping off a little bit, back off that a little bit, and you should be getting close to your fat max zone right around there. So it should help you optimize it. So I think this is a really useful application of NIRS for a very specific training type that I think a lot of people could be interested in. I'll just put this up on the graph again here, and I'll circle it in kind of where fat max would be. It should be right around here, just before breakpoint 1. This should be quite easy to also find on a daily basis, especially if you get a little bit of hang of using the Moxie or using your NIRS device, whatever it is. Definitely a very, very useful tool training application. So thank you very much for listening. Again, send me questions. This fat max question came up a long time ago, actually, about a half a year ago, and I'm finally answering it now. So I'm sorry, sometimes it takes a little long on my videos. Okay, thank you. Bye.